Man, it's very interesting, bro. Very interesting, the dialogue between The Breakfast Club and Will Smith with Martin Lawrence.
Yeah.
Will Smith is very articulate and insightful, at least as, you know, in this interview as it relates to anthropology, the study of man.
Yeah.
And he just made some dope moves that I think about a lot, but to hear him articulate it was cool. And the moves he made were thinking through sort of the life cycle. So he talked about how we as people, and then he also personalized it, talking about his own story, but how we as people, first, we're kind of subject to our home life, the parents we were given, and whatever drama you went through in that space. And you get those initial scars from the world and from your home life. And then from that point, you move out into the world as a character that you've built to protect you from the baggage that you've gotten from your home life. And then you have these skills and these reflexes that you use to function around other people in the world. And sometimes those things work in your favor. You become successful for the very reason. So you vow to never be taken advantage of again, and then you went out into the world and became a go-getter. Right? And then you became successful. Then you got a TV show. And then all of a sudden you look up, now you're the Fresh Prince. You know, and then he goes on to talk about the next phase being those things start to wane in their power to really serve you in that next season of life. So you become a husband, you become a father, and those defense mechanisms don't help you have a healthy relationship with your spouse, with your kids. So now this character that once served you is now failing you. And then you have to make this decision. Will you kill the character or will you stay in character so as to kind of babysit those frailties in your own soul? And he was talking about how he decided to kill the character by skydiving, swimming with sharks, just pursuing his true self and the true purpose, right? He just went and just beautifully really just unpacked this thing that I think everybody would agree with as you start to age. But the interesting thing about it was it felt incomplete though, especially as, you know, with our Christian radar, we're always listening for, you know what I mean? And it's just going off like something's missing, you know what I'm saying? And that was the portion of the interview that it was more like, man, I wish, you know, we can get in a room and really expand this conversation because we agree, we can relate. But the power behind what he was saying was so persuasive that I can see how it sounds like a new gospel. It sounds like a new way, a new meta narrative to make better people. To usher in, you know, the ability to be your true and full self. And
I was saying, especially in light of what we talked about in another podcast, where people of color are now kind of migrating away from, you know, the traditional, this is what the way to become the best version of yourself is to, on some level, like in other words, is to on some level know God. You see what I mean? Like people of color historically haven't disconnected those two things. You want to have peace, you want to have joy, you want to be the best version of yourself. You want to have
your purpose.
You want to know your purpose. Stand on high moral ground. You know God. Historically, that was the narrative that was kind of baked into our context and into our culture. But now that we're getting away from that, we're looking now, because naturally that's just what you do. You know, like you know, intrinsically we're gonna search for a new leader, a new religion, a new way to think about, because we still want to accomplish the same goals. It just seems like the thing that grandmom told me was supposed to make me the best version of myself failed us. You see what I'm saying? It's actually been used against us. It's mind control. It's been brainwashed, etc. So it's like, the interesting part is that now, in light of what you're saying, this new gospel is you know, not only is it the gospel, but it's the messenger that's super attractive.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So now I'm drawn to the message and the messenger, because the messenger, just like with Christians, what we used to be, now Will Smith is there's consistency.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's an integration between what he's preaching, like he's actually doing it. Like he actually jumped out of the plane.
Yeah.
He actually swam with the sharks.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? He's actually a multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
He's actually one of the biggest. So his gospel makes all the sense in the world. I'm moving away from that old thing, and I'm moving towards this new gospel.
Exactly.
Yeah, it makes more sense to me.
Right.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is you can do it without God.
Yeah, that's it.
You can do it without
That's
God.
it.
And they
Yeah.
and they modeled that well. And in all fairness, had he been asked about how spirituality or Christianity plays into this, he may have had an answer for that. So I'm not projecting on him that he doesn't have a discussion for that.
But by and large, this narrative is devoid of God. Yeah.
Right? And you think about that, and it's not inherently bad for human beings to want to find their full potential.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's difficult now for the Christian engaging this new paradigm, this new worldview.
Yeah.
Because I think there was a sense in which we misrepresented what the true gospel was all about.
Yeah.
So if we made the true gospel all about the same thing Will and Martin and Charlemagne were talking about, which is just being nicer, right? Taking care of your family, investing money for generations to come. Like, if we also portrayed the gospel as really just a way to be moral and pure and not to wild out, then I can see why, in comparison, why they would prefer this new approach, because the new approach doesn't say as strictly like things about the law that you get from Christianity.
So the new approach really doesn't come with a level of moral, like the same level of moral accountability.
Right.
So you feel free from the chains of do this, don't do this, which is how they perceive Christianity, while at the same time achieving the same goal.
Right.
What did Rabbi Hill say? What did he say? That Jesus didn't die, or Jesus didn't come to make bad people good. He died to make dead people live.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And it feels like, you know, this new gospel makes a whole lot of sense in light of the a portion of that, which is how many of us perceive, even Christians think of the gospel. You know what I'm saying? Jesus came to make bad people good. That's why we can't wrap our minds around, you know, even when we're dating, we're like, but he's such a good guy. Like, why wouldn't God want me to be married?
Right.
You know, so we like, well, the God is, there's a wisdom in God teaching us to not be unequally yoked with non-believers, but we can't wrap our mind around, because we're like, but they're such good people. Like, but she's such a good girl. She's such a quality girl. She's ambitious. You follow me? I think a lot of that has to do with exactly what you're saying. It's how we perceive our faith. And the question is, you know, have we been like basically taken out the nutrients, you know what I'm saying, of the Christian faith, and look at how that is hurting us now, because it makes it even difficult to have conversations with people, because the assumption is that if I'm a good person, what more would God want from me than that?
What need does your faith serve me?
Yes.
I can accomplish what you're selling me on my own. And that's when we bypass the totality of what God is up to. So we realize that human beings are body and soul. You can almost make it one word: body, soul. What does it mean to be a human? Body, soul. That's who you are. And oftentimes Christianity has, to the exclusion of regular stuff, only pointed towards spiritual stuff. And now, this kind of message that we heard on the Breakfast Club appeals to people that see value in regular stuff. And they're saying, like, we can do that. But we have to remind them of the totality of the human experience.
Yeah.
Which is what you're doing is not in competition with God.
Yeah.
Like God is okay with you being a better person, taking care of your family, investing well, leaving a legacy and inheritance for your kids. All that does not compete with the faith.
Yeah.
Right? Caring for your neighbor. All these are good things. But that thing you sense in you, that unrest, that drive to find my true purpose, my full self.
Yeah.
You're never going to be able to quench that thing.
Yeah.
And you're always going to reach out into some new expression of what it means to be human. Right? Now, technology.
Right.
Artificial intelligence. Maybe that's what it means to really be a true human.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it means, and then you fill in the blank. And humans will always try to creatively settle in their hearts on what it really means to be fully human.
Yeah.
But ignoring that it's a package. What it really means to be fully human, we see in Christ.
Yeah.
We see in Christ who demonstrated perfectly what God had in mind in the human expression.
Yeah.
Like how Jesus lived perfectly as unto the Father and perfectly served mankind.
Because what people are really searching for at the end of the day is some transcendent self. Even, you see what I mean? Like this like we want to rise above. That's what people are like you said. That's why you're saying, like, because even once you get to that place of I've arrived, or I feel like I'm kind of, even we were watching the interview, we were noticing how like they were speaking in levels. Like Will was like, Martin is like almost 100% like the most honest person. You see what I mean? He was looking at Charlamagne like, you're on your way to this. You know what I'm saying? So there's like these levels in their mind. But the thing is that at the end of the day, there's never a sense of arrival, because what the search is really for something transcendent. Right. The thing that only the spirit, who is God, the Bible says God is spirit, can touch. You know what I'm saying? And so I think it's good for us to have this conversation, because we can be easily deceived ourselves. Like we can look at the Will Smiths, and by we I mean Christians, us included, can look at the Will Smiths and think to ourselves, what more do he need? Like, what we got to offer him? Like, we might think that if we don't have a fuller, more complete, more comprehensive understanding of what it actually means to be a believer, like, and then B, to be fully human, which I think you're making a great point, that's embodied in the person of Christ. Right.
And it's so interesting too, bro. Like, one of the parts of the discussion that really stuck out to me was when Will was like describing, as he imagines what it means to be your full self. In his description was the ability to be your sloppy and messy self in front of people. And what that sounded like to me was a human being trying to deal with what some call total depravity or the sin nature. Like this part of us that we know is broken. And in a lot of the new rhetoric, the goal is to remove shame or to be courageous enough to be messed up in front of people. And in that is where my righteousness is found. My peace of mind is found. My rightness is found in just being able to be raw in front of everybody, not caring about what you think, how I dress, what words I use, if they're curse words or not, if my marriage weighs up against the image you expected to live up to, which is an example that he gave. Me and my wife, we're getting to the point where we're just comfortable being Will and Jada, and not the Will and Jada you want us to be, but the real Will and Jada. So it seemed like that's part of this new goal. But to me, it exposes that we're still in touch with that brokenness inside of us, and we're trying to figure out what to do with it. Where do I go? And the solution is, I can find rightness. We would call it righteousness. in accepting that part of me and then being it in front of people.
Yeah.
Which in Christ is what we get.
Yeah.
We get to not to stay in sin, but we get to be accepted.
Yeah.
With our sinful and fallenness. That's the true expression as we live, not only in relation to one another, but before our Creator.
Right.
We also get to be accepted and righteous without having to be perfect on our own. So it's like, although they may use different phraseology to describe their journey and their chase, it's really nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
But for the Christian, our job is to find how have they rebranded the only true things that are really going on in the world. What language are they now using to discuss the things we know that they're actually dealing with in their hearts and in their souls? And that could be a tall task. I'm not saying that's easy.
Yeah, it is.
You know, because that's the temptation is to say, well, like you said, I can't even necessarily see what he would need.
Yeah, exactly.
What people like that would need.
Right.
You know,
Right.
And again, I think that's why it's important for Christians to not seem like we're fighting becoming better people.
Yeah.
We have to show that that's also a part of God's mind.
Right.
Not even also, that's his idea.
Right.
Like his idea.
This is God's stuff.
This is God's stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We're just saying it's incomplete.
Right.
That's it. Yeah.
Right. But for them, it's like, y'all, like grandma spent too much time worrying about not cursing because of God. And everything was
Godward.
So now people have started to move towards the here and now rather than the sweet by and by.
Right.
And we're saying like, nah, like I know you're revolting against this exaggerated and preoccupied focus on eternity. Your soul. Like we spent too much time in the past. And in context, I get it. There were portions of the Christian experience where people were ready to go to heaven because it was hard.
Of course, yeah.
So that's why they were
sometimes I'll be ready to go.
You feel me? So that's why they were always looking towards eternity. You know what I'm saying? Because times weren't as cool.
Right.
You know, arguably you could say times are
right.
difficult. But
it's
the point
best of the
is,
worst of times,
in context, people have felt like more focus on eternity because life is so hard. And then a generation under that felt like, man, I want to have a nice car. I want to have nice clothes. And
well, it's interesting too because it's interesting too because you look at the suicide rate. People are looking to leave here, like because they are still. It might not be what they say out loud. Yeah, they're still longing for. I just want whatever's after this. Right. Whether that's my body decomposes or my soul floats in the sky or I go to heaven
be
or
with my ancestors.
I just want whatever's
the next phase.
The next phase.
I'm over it.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? It's the suicide rate is higher than it's ever been because intuitively, instinctively, innately, that longing is still there and it can't be shaken. You see what I'm saying? I think I said this before. I'm not sure, but it's just interesting because we look at these people who feel like they're finding themselves. Like it's so attractive, bro. It's like, and it's attractive because it's God's thing. And to me, but that's what the enemy does. Like the enemy, he just wants to hinder you from going as far as you should go. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
That's good.
Yeah. You follow me? Yeah. So I'm just saying that the crazy thing is like we look at them, we're drawn to them, we're attracted to them, and it's like, but they have I told you I have a book, Saints and Sinners, on their deathbeds, like the sayings of saints and sinners on their deathbed, and everybody's on their deathbed. That's when that true longing is expressed, whether saint or sinner. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of what tax bracket they, you know what I'm saying? Find themselves in, like regardless of their social status or the economic status, like regardless of who they were in the world, on your deathbed, that moment of mortality really surfaces. Where people are now forced to weigh everything that they've ever been told by every Christian friend, every Muslim friend, every Buddhist friend. Now they're only weighing that because that's the only thing to really consider. So I think about this. It's like we admire this, we're attracted to this, but these very same people, Chuck Swindoll said, the moment you get the thing you've always wanted, it only creates a desire for more of what you don't have. I think we talked about that before. Yeah. You see what I mean? And it's like they look like they got it. Right. That's it.
Yeah.
But we don't know like that deep down inside, the thing that God knows. Yeah. And this is why, to me, Jesus was always addressing the matter of the heart.
Yes.
This is why he didn't address what people wanted him to. Yeah. Like, people would come to Jesus and want him to see them the way that like they thought was like look, Jesus, I've been righteous since my youth. I've been, you know what I'm saying? I've been getting better. I've been proven. I've been evolving. I've been reading self-help literature. I've been, you know what I'm saying? Look, Jesus. Jesus, what does Jesus say? Jesus is like, man, have you, they say, look, Jesus, I've never, and they just run a list of, look at all the stuff I've never done before that he did or that she did. And Jesus says, yeah, but have you ever looked at a woman lustfully?
Yeah.
Like, because if you have, that's an indication that there's still something wrong. So within as much as you appear to be well,
yeah, that's good.
Because that's what this is, isn't it? Yeah. This is, they appear to be well.
Yep. You know what I'm saying? And I love that because it speaks to his intention goes beyond you just looking dope.
That's it.
He's up to something else. He's interested in something else that faith highlights, that you being a dope, good person does not highlight.
Yes.
And that's why Christians, we should be confident that our message is still relevant.
Word. That's the word.
You feel
confident.
Me? Exactly.
Yeah.
It's still relevant for contemporary times.
Yeah.
The gospel is still true today for the current spirit of things. And we should own that and get and be a part of the conversation. You feel me?
Dope.
So yeah.
Dope.
Make sure you hit that notification bell after you subscribe. You don't want to miss this complicated ish.